Hello, friends. This week I have had an interesting experience. On Saturday, the movers came and hauled most of our furniture to a new house on the other side of Fayette County. Now, it's been 14 years. I can't believe it's been that long, but 14 years since we moved the last time. And when we moved, way back then, we had a first grader, a toddler, and an infant. I look back at the pictures just to remember some of those times in the early days, and it's funny to look in the backgrounds at how empty a lot of the rooms seemed at the time. We added things, of course, over time. We've gotten furniture from my parents after they passed away. We added things ourselves. The kids got older and accumulated more things themselves. We traveled and added mementos and knickknacks from places we've been and things that we would like to be reminded of. But along the way, we also, at some point, had to replace the refrigerator and the washer and dryer and the dishwasher, and we had the bathrooms all redone, and we repainted, I think, every room of the house, and sometimes repainted them twice because the kids had outgrown their childhood themes. But that old house then fit like a glove. It was us. It represented us. I knew exactly where everything was. I knew how everything worked, what everything smelled like, what everything sounded like. I knew when something went bump in the night or I heard a strange noise, if that was a normal noise or a not normal noise. It was like it was a part of me, a part of us, and there were so many memories there too. So this week we made the move to a new house, and this is something completely different. Yesterday, I decided to just put some towels in the wash, and so I carried them into the laundry room, which now I have a laundry room that's not off the kitchen anymore, but it's up where the bedrooms are, upstairs. What's that about? So then I laid them down and I scratched my head for a moment. This is not our old washing machine. It's a front loader. Our old one was a top loader. And the old one had a knob. Where's the knob? The settings are sort of different. Where do I put the detergent into this thing? And that was just for the washing machine. A little while later, of course, I had to figure out the dryer. And that was just that part of the day. So this week I've had to figure out a lot of things. I also had to figure out how the stove worked and how far to adjust the flame on this one to cook some breakfast sausage. I've had to figure out the stove and the microwave and all of those different things in the house. I also had to say hello, had a couple of neighbors stop by as I was unloading the car, and that was really nice of them. But that didn't usually happen at the old house because we either had known the neighbors for a long, long time, or they were the kind of neighbors that didn't really want to know their neighbors, so we didn't have to worry about them anyway. But here I was with my arms full of an unruly hose, and somebody was walking by or driving by and stopped and introduced themselves, and now I have to try to remember their names, and I can't. I've tried. I've really tried, but there's just so much right now to think about, and remembering somebody's name is difficult. I had forgotten how mentally tiring a move can be. I have to think through every little thing. I have to try to remember new things and where everything is, and it's exhausting. Just to go get a bowl for my cereal this morning, I think I went through 4 different cabinets before I found them. So all of this reminds me a little of the Israelites back in the day. For 40 years, they had followed God around in the wilderness after leaving Egypt, and every time they stopped, they had to set up just sort of an elaborate tent, the tabernacle for the ark and for God to occupy. And then they'd have to pick it all up again and move on. But I imagine that they got to be mentally tired after a while. That whole thing is exhausting. Every few days having to think through all over again where to set up the tents and where to get water and where the outhouse was. It's exhausting. So it had to be quite a relief when they finally got to build that temple under King Solomon and got to set up their homes and their villages and got used to how things would work and where things would be. The catch is, it also turned out that there's a downside to getting too settled too. They could get stuck in their ways. They were less open to new things. Following God could become rather domesticated. When John the Baptist or Jesus came along, it really threw them for a loop. They were not ready for that. They were no longer mobile enough in body or mind or spirit to follow along, to try something new. Kind of like us after settling in and accumulating for too many years. I wonder if there is a balance between somehow the relief and the rest of being stationary for a while and the freedom and the flexibility of trying new paths that God may be opening up. Just some thoughts from your pastor who is living right now among a whole bunch of boxes. So I hope you have a great week, and peace be with you. Bye now.